Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom. Bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, 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 bam. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And to those of you who are joining us on YouTube and joining us on TempleShalom.com, on that camera back there, Shabbat Shalom to all of you. It is our very last Shabbat of the year. Next Friday night, 1 week from tonight, we will gather together to welcome in not only Shabbat, but welcome in a brand new year. And so we celebrate this final Shabbat of the year as we continue page 128 in your Siddur. Right in the middle of the page. Turn back to page 120. We'll light our Shabbat candles. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadliknem shel Praise to you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who makes us holy with your commandments and commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat. Since this is the last Shabbat of this year, it's a good time to revisit a lesson that some of you have heard me say, and looking around the room, I know some of you have never heard me say. So for some of you, this is new, and for some of you, this is renew. And that is about the Shabbat candles. We take our hands and we wave 3 times, and people think it's to bring in the warmth or the light of Shabbat into our souls, but really the custom comes from the Hasidic world, and it says that we should take the light of the Shabbat candles and bring it into our body, bring it into our soul, and bring it into our mind. And so one for each one of those things, and then we cover our eyes. And why do we cover our eyes? Because of a legal fiction, and it's this. How many people have heard me explain this before? 1 person, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 of you? How is that possible? That only 4 of you have heard me talk about this. This is called, the blessing that we say to light the candles is called a bracha asiyah. That's fancy Hebrew for a blessing to do something. And so when we do a bracha asiyah, we say the blessing and then we do the thing. We say hamotzi lechem min haaretz, and then we eat the bread, right? We say borei hapriya gafen, and then we drink the wine. We say lahadlik ner shal Shabbat, and then we light the candles, except we have a problem. That once we say the blessing, it's already Shabbat, and we're not allowed to kindle a fire on Shabbat. And so we can't say the blessing that I'm going to light the candles and then light the candles. So what we do instead is we light the candles, but I didn't really light them. How do I know I didn't light them? Because I'm covering my eyes. I can't see any lit candles right now, so the candles must not be lit. I say the blessing, and then I go to pick up the lighter to light the candles, and oh my goodness, it's a miracle. The candles are already lit. Now, on the one hand, it sounds a little silly. But if you go a little deeper than just the surface of, oh my goodness, I can't believe the candles are already lit, because I lit them, but I really didn't. Because whatever happened before the blessing, I wasn't there, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. But if I open my eyes and the candles are already lit, it's a miracle. And what a beautiful idea to think that every Shabbat starts with a miracle. And it's the same thing 1 week from tonight, when there's going to be at least 5 or 6 more people in the room than there are right now, or 300 more. That when we start the new year and we kindle the lights and we say, Shel Shabbat v'Shel Yom Tov, commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat and of this holiday, that we begin not only every Shabbat, but we begin the year with a miracle. And what a beautiful idea it is that if we could start every Shabbat with a miracle, start every year with a miracle, maybe we can search for more miracles, not just on Shabbat, but on Sunday through Friday as well, to find the miracles that surround us in our lives. But with this Shabbat, we welcome in this Shabbat with the words of Psalms. We begin on page 130, Psalm 95, as we begin these Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat to bring in the beauty of the final Shabbat of the year. We say, Lechu neranina v'Adonai, let us sing joyfully to God. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina l'Adonai. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina l'Adonai. Naria, naria, l'zur yishenu, v'kad b'fanav todah. On page 131, from Psalm 96, we'll sing the first couple of lines of the song. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, sing to God a new song. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, let all of the earth sing to God. We'll take those 2 lines and sing them in reverse order, because that's how this particular songwriter took those words. Let them to be sing. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai. As we turn to page 132, near the bottom of the page, we say, light is sown for the righteous, and for those who are good-hearted there will be happiness. Something for us to think of, especially in this month of Elul, as we make our way toward the Yamim Noraim, toward the days of Ah, that if we are righteous and if we are good-hearted, we will be rewarded with light and with happiness. Or Zarua Latzadik, Yishrei Lev Simcha. 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 Or Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarua Latzadik, Yishrei Lev Page 133, we'll read together words from Psalm 98. A psalm. Sing to Adonai a new song, for God has worked wonders. God's right hand, God's holy arm has won God victory. Adonai has manifested God's victory, has displayed God's triumph in the sight of the nations. God was mindful of God's steadfast love and faithfulness toward the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth beheld the victory of our God. Raise a shout to Adonai, all the earth. Break into joyous songs of praise. On page 135, from one of those joyous songs, we talk about God in the heavens and God in the mountains. We're coming now to the very end of reading Torah. We're just a few portions away from hitting the end of the Torah, and then about a month from now, after all of the holidays come, we'll make it to Simchat Torah at the end. Finish reading the Torah and start all over again. And not too long after that, we will wind up in this same place that's mentioned in the last 3 lines of the psalm, standing there in front of the mountain at Mount Sinai, ready to be given once again the 10 Commandments as we stand together as a community. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu, we give praise to our God, V'hishtachavu l'har kodsho, and we prostrate ourselves, we bow down at God's holy mountain. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu, for Adonai our God is holy. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavu l'har kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavu l'har kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romamu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romamu. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu l'har kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu l'har kodsho. Psalm 29 on page 136 and 137. We'll read together the entire psalm in English. It's a psalm that talks about God's power in the universe, the power of creation, and it's a psalm that we also kind of alludes to this time of year in revisiting the idea of the renewal of creation and God's power in that creation. We read together a psalm of David. Ascribe to Adonai, O divine beings. Ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory of God's name. Bow down to Adonai, majestic in holiness. The voice of Adonai is over the waters. The God of glory thunders, Adonai over the mighty waters. The voice of Adonai is power. The voice of Adonai is majesty. The voice of Adonai breaks cedars. Adonai shatters the cedars of Lebanon. God makes Lebanon skip like a calf, Sirion like a young wild ox. The voice of Adonai kindles flames of fire. The voice of Adonai convulses the wilderness. Adonai convulses the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of Adonai causes hinds to calve and strips forest bare. While in God's temple all say glory. Adonai sat enthroned at the flood. Adonai sits enthroned, sovereign forever. May Adonai grant strength to God's people. May Adonai bestow on God's people well-being. The last two lines of that psalm, in the Hebrew, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech, et amo v'shalom. May God give us strength and give us peace as well. Lai, 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 et amo v'shalom. Adonai od ve'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Lai 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 Page 138 and 139. We welcome in the image of the Shabbat bride. Come, my friends, let us greet the bride. Sing verses 1 and 2 on page 138, 5 and 9 on 139. Lecha dodi brala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi brala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi brala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Adoni likrakala, Shabbat nikabela, Shambol v'zachor v'diborecha, Ishmi anu el hamichad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shinu tiferet v'letihad. Lecha dodi face the door to welcome in the image of the Shabbat bride. Bohi v'shalom atem ala, gam simcha v'tzor. Ochemune Sigula Boichala Boichala Lecha Dodi Gra'atala B'nei Shabbat Kabela Lecha Dodi Gra'atala B'nei Shabbat Kabela. We've greeted the Shabbat bride. We can greet each other. We'll turn to your neighbors, the people in front of you, behind you, to your left and your right, and wish everybody Shabbat Shalom. And for those of you on YouTube and TempleShalom.com, Shabbat Shalom to all of you as well. Well, again, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We'll continue as we find our way back to our seats. Page 140, Psalm 92, the Psalm of Shabbat that the Levites used every week in the temple to prepare and bring ourselves into Shabbat. They sang it in the evening of Shabbat. They sang it in the morning of Shabbat. And we sing it now, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Tov L'Hodot L'Adonai. It is good to give thanks to God. Page 140. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov L'Hodot L'Adonai. U'lizamer L'Shimcha Elyon, U'lizamer L'Shimcha Elyon. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov L'Hodot L'Adonai. U'lizamer L'Shimcha Elyon, U'lizamer L'Shimcha Elyon. Hagi baboker haskecha, emunatecha baleilot, alei asor ve'aleina ve'alei higayon ve'ilot. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov L'Hodot L'Adonai. U'lizamer L'Shimcha Elyon, U'lizamer L'Shimcha Elyon. V'simchtani Adonai b'po'olecha, b'ma'asei yadecha amanim. Ma'gadlu ma'asecha Adonai v'od amku machshuvotecha. We continue as we turn to page 144. So we'll make our way from our Kabbalat Shabbat into our Ma'ariv service with Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadav, Yitkadav Shemei Rabbah, Yamad Yivrach Yerutei V'yamlich Malchutei, V'chayechon V'yomechon, U'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, Ba'agala, U'vizman Ka'harivim Meru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, Ve'alam U'amei Almaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Vishtabach, V'pa'ar, V'draman, V'naseh, V'tadar, V'taleh, V'talal, Shemei D'Kudisha, V'richu Le'ila, Min Kol Berkata, B'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiron ve'alma v'yimeru. Amen. We rise as we turn to page 146 as we invite ourselves to prayer with the words of Baruch Hu. Lai, 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai seated. As we turn to page 148, we give thanks for creation. So we say, God, you are the one who built all of the universe, and you move all of those things that are in the sky, the sun and the stars and the moon, according to a plan that you have created. You move day from night and night to day. You are Adonai Tzvaot, the master of all of the great unions of beings and of creations that you have. Praise to you, God, who brings on the evening. Ma'ariv Aravim, page 148. Lai, 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher dibrahu ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach sha'arim ubitbuna mishaneh itim umachalif et hazmanim umisader et hakochavim umishmurotehem baravim kitzorot. Lai, 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 El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yochalim Le'olam Va'ed Baruch atah Adonai that melody, if you're here next week, you'll get to sing along with that melody the way it was originally recorded with the other instrument in the music that is on the recording, but we don't usually do here because I don't usually have a person who plays that instrument here. But if you have my CD at home, you've heard that. But if you don't, then you'll have to wait till next week to see what happens. It will have a little extra instrument to add a little more beauty into that prayer along the way, as it was originally recorded way back when. We turn to page 150. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot and laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on its words, for the words of Torah are our life and they are the length of our days. Never remove your love from us, and we praise you, God, who loves your people Israel. Ahavat Olam, page 150. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Amcha Ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta, Otanu limadta. Al kin Adonai Eloheinu b'shofrenu Tumeinu nasiach b'pecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hei hayenu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nehege yomam v'layla Nehege yomam v'layla Ve'avatcha al tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Elohim Amohu Yisrael Ohev Amo Yisrael. We join together in Shema, page 152 and 153. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele Nenochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam Ivanecha Vidivarta Avam Vishivtecha Bevetecha Uvlechtecha Vaderech Uvshoktecha Uvkumecha Uvshartam Leot Al Yadecha Vahayulatodapot Beinenecha Uchkavtam Amazuzot Betecha Uvish Arecha Leman Tiskeru Vasitem et Kol Mitzvotai Vitem Kiroshim Leloechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher Hotzeiti Etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim Yot Lachem Le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 157. At the top of the page, a poem that was written a few decades ago about this concept of Geula, this concept of redemption, of leading ourselves toward freedom. And if we read it in this month, it might sound just slightly different. You can follow along and see if you see the hint that this poem gives us at this time of year. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness of the month of Elul, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. It's the idea of this month of Elul that we are wandering through our own individual wilderness, our own time of taking our cheshbon hanefesh, our accounting of our souls. This is what Moses was asking the Israelites to do as they stood in the desert. This week's Torah portion, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes, this week's Torah portion, they stood together for Moses' final charge to them before Moses would go off to die on some mysterious mountain, Mount Nebo, in the middle of the Jordanian desert somewhere. But Moses would say to them that in order to get to that place, the place of Shalom, Shalom we translate as peace, but it also means completeness. To be in that place of completeness, we have to make our way through the wilderness. For them, it was the wilderness of Sinai and the wilderness leading to the Jordanian River. For us, it's the wilderness of the things that have happened to us over the past year, and finding our way through that wilderness so that we can cross our river into our own promised land. And so just as our ancestors said, as they were leaving their place of bondage, their place of physical bondage, we say, as we prepare to leave our place of spiritual bondage and bring our souls to a place of ritual purity in just about 17 days and, I don't know, about a half hour or so from now. That's what it'll be, 17 days and a half hour. We'll bring our place to that place of ritual purity where we would be able to say that we've crossed this sea of our reeds and made our way out of our place of our slavery and made our way into our place of shalom, of peace and of wholeness. And so we will sing on page 158, as our ancestors did, a song of freedom from the place of bondage. make our way into evening, we turn to page 160 as we ask God to build a shelter of peace over us so that we might lie down in peace. We might be protected as we sleep from enemy and illness and war, from famine and sorrow and wrongdoing. God will watch our coming and our going for us, for all of Israel, for all of the world. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu v'shalom v'ha'amidinu shomreinu v'chayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu v'shalom v'ha'amidinu shomreinu v'chayim. Three indented lines near the bottom of the prayer. Ushmor tzedkenu L'chaim u'shalom v'eta be'adonam. Laila 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 Eloheinu v'shalom v'ha'amidinu shomreinu v'chayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu v'shalom v'ha'amidinu shomreinu v'chayim. Shomreinu v'chayim. Baruch atah Adonai Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. The people of Israel will keep Shabbat, God tells us in chapter 31 of the book of Exodus. Observing Shabbat throughout the ages is a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made the heavens and the earth. And on the seventh day, Shabbat v'yinafash, God ceased from everything. And God refreshed God's soul. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat v'dor tamid olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat v'dor tamid olam. V'yuven b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat midor tamid olam. U'biyom hashvi'i Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash. page 164, we rise for our Amidah. This is our own conversation time with God. We pray communally and we pray individually. And in this month of Elul, we're taught by the rabbis of old that we're supposed to pray even more deeply and find the places deep in our hearts as we search within our souls, doing the work of forgiveness that leads us up to these Yamim Noraim, these days of awe. We're reminded, if you look on the bottom of page 165, you'll see some words from Regina Jonas. Anybody know who Regina Jonas was? Anybody in the room know who Regina Jonas was? Regina Jonas may be, we don't really know, Regina Jonas may have been the first modern female rabbi. Long before Sally Persand, who just retired in New Jersey just about a year or two ago, she was ordained in 1971 by the Reform movement in America. Decades before that, Regina Jonas was, we believe, ordained as a rabbi. Why do I say we believe? Because we don't really have the records to tell us whether there was an official ordination or not, but we do know that where she functioned as a rabbi, where there were no records, she taught lessons that brought peace to people's souls in a place where there was no peace. Because Regina Jonas, we believe, was ordained as a rabbi in Auschwitz during the Holocaust. And we have some of the things that we said written down because they were written down and hidden in walls in the buildings and in things that were buried. And one of the lessons that she taught was this, that God has placed abilities and challenges in our hearts. Without regard to gender, each of us has the duty, whether man or woman, to realize those gifts that God has given. It's a beautiful thing to think of in this time of year, that each one of us, no matter who we are, no matter where we came from, no matter how we appear to people outwardly or inwardly, that we each have these gifts from God to look within ourselves and to try to find them and shine that light of our gifts out into the world. And so as we make our way into our Amidah, perhaps it's a little something for you to focus on as we make our way through the silent portion of our Amidah, of that last week of this year of introspection within ourselves, to stand panim el panim, face to face with God, at our own burning bush, at our own Mount Sinai, at our own River Jordan, wherever it may be, that when we say the words that we'll say now, they do indeed open up our lips so that we can sing praises to God and find that special gift within ourselves and maybe enlighten it a bit more in the world to come, in the year to come. Anana na 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 Adonai. Anana na 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 Sifatai Tifta. Anana na 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 Ufi Agi Tehila Techa. Anana na 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 Adonai. Anana na 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 Satai Tika. Anana na 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 Ufi Agi. Ufi Agi Tehila Techa. Anana na 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 Adonai. Anana na 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 Satai Tika. Anana na 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 Ufi Agi. Ufi Agi Tehila Techa. Anana na 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 Adonai. Anana na 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 Satai Tika. Anana na 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 Ufi Agi Tehila Techa. Anana yagi tehila Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotinu v'Imotzeinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanura El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magin Baruch Atah Adonai Magin Avraham Bezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai V'chayei HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Morid Hatal Mechalkel Hayim Bechesed Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Ishenei Afar Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Limit Umechayeh Umatmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman Atah Lachayot HaKol Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Atah Kadosh Shimcha Kadosh Ukedoshim B'chol Yom Yahalelu Chasel Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue silently through 180 or 181, or with the prayers that you find in your own minds, in your own hearts, your own souls. When you finish with your individual prayer, please be seated. Page 180. Middle of the page. V'yom Yifanecha Adonai Tzuri V'goali Adonai Tzuri V'goali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart, may they all be acceptable unto you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Page 371. We turn our thoughts to those who are in need of healing. We ask God to bring healing to Brian Zabel, Gnendel Batsima, Fran Hart, Aharon Ben Abraham Vasara, Larry Ritterban, Sarah Tischler, Kayla Vreek, Lila Vreek, Stanley Sachs, Karen Thursby, Alan Anansil Terlupis, Kelly Fuentes, Paltiela Bat Basha, Deborah Esther Bat Moshe, Ellen Weiss, Tommy Elledge, Batsheva Bat Shprinza, Suri Shaddai Ben Sara, Bela Batsur Herschel, Sarah Mandel, Terry Robertson, Boaz Abramoff, Ruth Sugar Barish, April Morris, Kathy Twardock, Lucy Jacobs, Fred Trow, Eliezer Mordechai Ben Leah Gnasa, Leanna Haas, David Morse, Mick Robertson, and Perry Bach. Are there any others names for healing? We'll start on this side of the room if anybody has names for healing. Thank you. Any others on this side of the room? On this side of the room, names for healing? Thank you. Any others? For all those we've named and for all those in need, may God bring them refuah shlema min hashamayim, complete healing from the heavens. Bimhira v'yameinu, and may it come speedily to all of them. Mishevera avotei mekor habracha leimotei. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishevera imotei mikor habracha leavotei. Bless those in need of you with refuah shlema, renewal of body, renewal of spirit. Let us say, This week we read from a double portion of the Torah. We read from Nitzavim and Vayelech, although as we read here at Temple Shalom in our triennial cycle, we will actually only read from the first one of those, from Nitzavim. Next year you'll get to hear some of Vayelech. But Nitzavim begins with the word. Nitzavim would be the obvious choice, but I wouldn't ask if that was actually the right answer. Usually we name the Torah portion after the first word, but it's really not the first word, it's the first significant word. And the first word in this week's Torah portion is atem, which means y'all in Southern. It means y'all. In modern it means you plural, but the second word would be, now nitzavim, there we go. Sometimes it's the third word, here it's the second word. Atem nitzavim kolchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem. Y'all stand here. That's how Moses spoke. He said, y'all stand here, every one of you. Kolchem, all of you. Lifnei Adonai Elohecha. Before Adonai, your God. The tribal chiefs and the heads of the families and the Levites and the priests, all of you are here. And the women and the children and the strangers, even the wood chopper and the water drawer. Today we call that person the day laborer who stands on the corner in front of Lowe's or Home Depot, hoping that someone will hire them for the day. The person who has a place in the lowest part of our society, the homeless. But it says in the Torah, Atem nitzavim hayom kolchem. You stand here today, all of you, everybody, to receive these words that God gave 40 years ago on a mountain some miles off in the distance there from where we stand today. And it's intentional that we read these words right before Rosh Hashanah. The rabbi set up the reading cycle so that these words would be the beginning words of the Torah portion before Rosh Hashanah, to say that all of you stand here today, and all of you will accept these laws and this brit, this covenant upon you, before you cross the Jordan River and go into the Promised Land. That it's everybody's responsibility. Atem nitzavim kolchem hayom lifnei Adonai Elohecha. You stand here today before your God. As we enter into the Yamim Noraim, we'll begin on Yom Kippur, we'll say a series of blessings called vidui. It means confessional. The Catholics stole us from it, and they call it last rites. Because it originated not with Yom Kippur, but it originated with the words that we say when we're dying. It's why in very traditional circles, people wear a kittel, or a burial robe, on Yom Kippur. Because it's as if we're standing before God. Atem nitzavim, you all stand here. That's what atem nitzavim means. You all stand here today before God and confess before God what you have done. Again, the problem is we speak English, so we should probably say it the way that it is in the Hebrew, what y'all have done. Because we will say, Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu, Dofi. We have sinned, we have lied, we have done this, we have done that. And there's not a single person in the room, as far as I know, who's done all of those things. I don't think you have time in 1 year to do all of those things wrong. We all have plenty of time to do plenty of things wrong, and we do. But we stand as a community and say, we have sinned before you. A couple of weeks ago, we read about the Egel Arufah. You all remember the Egel Arufah? In the desert, they found a dead body. It was halfway between town A and town B. And the people in town A said, we never saw that guy. And the people in town B said, we never saw that guy. But somehow he wound up dead or maybe murdered right in the middle of town A and town B. So whose fault was it? It was his own fault for wandering in the desert by himself? No. Was it the people in town A? Well, we don't know if he was there. Was it the people in town B? Well, we don't know if he was there. Which means that it's all of our faults because nobody knew that he was there. We didn't recognize that there was a person in need among us, and he wound up dying in the desert, and the Torah gives us an entire ceremony to ask for forgiveness for letting this happen. Atem nitzavim kolchem hayom lifnei Adonai Elahechem. All of you stand here today before God to look into our individual souls and to look into our communal souls. And for the sins that we say that I didn't do that, but I know who did, it was that guy. But we don't want to do that because that's not the right thing to point it out to someone and embarrass them. But we can say, I allowed that person to create that sin in my society. Things were wrong in society and other people did wrong things, and I didn't stop them. I might have been able to stop them by myself. I might have been able to stop them by changing a law. I might have been able to stop them by protesting. I might have been able to stop them by knocking on the doors of all my neighbors and bringing them out so that we could stop it from happening. I might have been able to stop them anonymously by sending them a message somehow to let them know they shouldn't be doing what it is that they're doing. And then maybe others will help me find what I've done wrong as we engage in this cheshbon hanefesh. And we, anachnu, nitzavim kulanu. I just changed the grammar a little bit. We stand, all of us, lifnei Adonai Eloheinu, in front of Adonai our God, and say, as we come into the last 7 days of this year, al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sin that we have sinned against you, for the thing that I have done wrong, for the thing my neighbor has done wrong, for the thing that I allowed to happen in my family, for the thing that I allowed to happen in my community, for the thing I allowed to happen in my place of work, for the thing that I allowed to happen in my place of worship, for the thing that I allowed to happen in my country, for the thing that I allowed to happen in my world. God, I ask your forgiveness, not just for the actual things that I did wrong, but I stand before you today to ask forgiveness for the things that I allowed others to do wrong without doing something to try to act in some way to stop them. And it's not the responsibility of the richest person alone. It's not the responsibility of the poorest person alone. It's not the responsibility of the leaders or the followers, of the government or the individual. It's the responsibility of everyone. And Moses in this speech says, all of you stand here today, every one of you, the tribal leaders, down to the guy who carries the water across the camp, to receive this covenant, to make the world a better place. Because if you follow the commandments that I have given to you, when you cross that river, when you go into that promised land, things will go well for you. Moses doesn't say perfectly for you. Moses says it will go well for you. And the you is plural. And then Moses says, but if you don't follow these ways that I've been repeating to you for these last several weeks, things will not go well for you collectively. It doesn't mean that everything will go wrong, but it won't go as well. How do we make a world that is filled with righteousness and kindness and justice and light and goodness? We do it by what we call in Hebrew, hitbodedut. It's a nice religious Hebrew word, hitbodedut. It means religious introspection, looking inside ourselves. How do we change ourselves? There was once a great rabbi. Not sure he was a rabbi. He wasn't a rabbi, but he was being very rabbinic when he said, and these were the words he said. You may have heard them before. He said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, you got to look at yourself and make a change. It's a Michael Jackson song. But it's very wise. It's what we should be doing at this time of year. Look in the mirror and change ourselves. And when we change ourselves, we inspire others to change themselves as well. In the year to come, may we be inspired to be the people who were Atem Nitzavim, the ones who stand before God, the powerful and the not powerful, the wise and the not so wise, the rich and the not so rich, whoever we may be, and to know that everybody stands with us. May we find the blessing, as we said early on in the Psalms, to bring righteousness and goodness into the world. And may we be inspire others to follow that pathway, to bring light and righteousness and goodness into the world in the year 5784 that will come upon us 1 week from almost this moment now. May it be for all of us a Shana Tova U'Metuka. May it be a good and sweet year for everyone. Amen. We turn to page 586. My thumb was in the wrong spot. 586, at the bottom of the page, as we'll rise for Aleinu and bring our service to a close with our final few prayers. We all rise. Aleinu d'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liyotzeh b'reishit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, shehu noteh shamayim v'yoser haaretz, u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo v'govei meromim, u'Eloheinu einod, emet malkeinu efes zulato, kagatu v'torato, yadata hayom v'hashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim mima'al, ve'al ha'aretz, mitachat einod. Middle of 590. Ki ha'malchut shelcha hi olam timloch v'kavod, kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar, v'ya Adonai le'melech al kol ha'aretz, v'yom ha'hu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, u'shemo echad. We can all be seated. In our yard sites this week, we recall the memories of Adam Certain, Al Royne, Bessie David, David Palazzi, Irene Miller, Belle Mogilner, Claire Farrar, Irving Edelman, Jeffrey Kahn, Leo Frazier, Mitch Goldberg, Sheldon Crone, Abraham Albion, Lil Perlman, Benjamin Mullins, Elliot Mock, Nathan Friedman, Pearl Lubran, and Ellie Greenberg. Are there any other yard sites that anybody's observing? Thank you. Any others? Thank you. Any others? Yehi zichronam levracha, may their memories be an eternal blessing. We turn to page 598. We ask mourners to rise and those whose custom it is to stand with them as well. As in their memories, we sanctify God's name. Yitgadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'alma divra chirute v'yamnich malchute, V'chaye chon u'vyomechon u'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agala v'zman kari v'yimru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mavrach le'olam omei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitmaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shvei d'kudisha b'richu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, de'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'rama, huya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. We can all be seated. Before we close our service, we'll call Carolyn Geiser from our board of directors with a few announcements. There's lots of stuff happening over the next 3 or 4 weeks, like lots and lots of stuff.
Lots and lots.
I'm bringing my pillow and moving it.
Oop, that was loud. Sorry. Thank you all for joining us this Erev Shabbat for our service. If you are new or visiting Temple Shalom for the first time, welcome. Please be sure to introduce. Did I do it wrong?
We're gonna move this a little closer.
Oh, I
to
was
you.
trying to back up.
Now we want you closer so we can hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Much better.
That's a commercial. Can you hear me now? Oh, thank you, Rabbi Jay Sherwood, for leading us this evening, and thanks to everyone who participated in the service. That's all of you guys, y'all.
All y'all.
All y'all.
All y'all.
All y'all. Maybe you saw on your ticket that Sukkot service is scheduled for this Saturday.
That's tomorrow night.
That's
Sleep
tomorrow.
Out, 7 p.m. here.
It is happening, really. If you're not registered by now and a member, come and join us because you're on the list. If you're not a member and not registered, the security person may ask you to fill out a form, or somebody that's me, standing at the door, and take a picture of your photo ID, but you are welcome to attend. Please do.
It's a really beautiful and meaningful service tomorrow night. You should all come and join in.
Y'all come. All y'all. Cemetery Fall Cleanup Day this Sunday, September 10th at 10 o'clock. Bring water, gloves, your favorite weed digger, a bucket, and a can-do attitude to get the cemetery looking particularly spiffy. For Kevorot on the 24th. High Holidays announcements are here. Etrog and Lulav ordering is open. Memorial book forms are in the foyer with a link to the online form. It's much better if you have it already. A link.
If you want names in the memorial book, the deadline is?
Yesterday.
Tuesday. Trudy puts the whole book together, and so we can't have her putting it together on Kol Nidre night. It doesn't work that way.
No.
So Tuesday, if you need names in there, please by Tuesday. You people online too, by Tuesday.
Tuesday, that's the 12th. For the tasty part of the High Holidays, bring your dessert for Erev Rosh Hashanah Community Dessert Oned on Friday the 15th to share. Yom Kippur Break Fast is on Monday, September 25, after service at around 7-ish?
9, 10, 11 p.m.
Yeah,
It's
well,
gonna
by
go
the time we're all
really
passed
late.
out.
Yeah, probably right somewhere between 7 and 7:30.
Yeah,
Closer to 7.
yes. We speak fast Bring your own dairy parve meal to share and register at templeshalom.com to tell us what you're bringing to both or either. If you're interested in being an usher on the high holidays, please contact either Beth Zimmerman or Kobe Chumash. Kobe is the executive director here, and he can get you in touch with Beth. Crash course in Hebrew starts Tuesday, the 26th of September. This is so tall and I'm so short. 6:30 to 8 for 8 Tuesdays. This popular course is appropriate for anyone with zero knowledge in reading or writing Hebrew or in refreshing your Hebrew skills. A couple of things happening in September at other venues that you may want to know about. At the East Library on North Union from the 5th, which was a couple days ago, to the 11th of October, Americans and the Holocaust exhibit, the Greenberg Center for Learning and Tolerance is presenting Remembering for the Future, the Holocaust, uniting against hate and building a more compassionate tomorrow. That was a long sentence. On September 20th at the Celeste Theater at Colorado College. It is a really great exhibit, and if you haven't seen it, you really want to. It is the only one, every state got one chance at this exhibit, and Colorado Springs East Library got it. So this is a big deal, from all over the state. Yvonne Zador is forming a new club. If your favorite pastime is to hike the beautiful state of Colorado and you're interested in participating in a hiking group, please contact Yvonne via email available in our online directory. Yvonne is open to any suggestions, ideas, times, and places for this exciting new club. If you know any temple members who are ill, hospitalized, or suffering from a loss, please contact the temple office so we can be sure to provide encouragement and support. Thank you, Temple Shalom, and our Oneg mavens, Carolyn Fox and Trudy Wells, who are standing there in the back, for the Oneg this evening. I don't have anything else. It's a long
We'll also remind you that on Friday night, September 22nd, which is 2 weeks from tonight,
Yes.
the Shabbat in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it's Apple Wars Shabbat. What that means? Apples and honey for Rosh Hashanah. And so we have an apple dessert competition. There are prizes and certificates. Prizes worth, I have to check with the temple treasurer, but I think in the multiple thousands of dollars for winners.
Not really. Maybe $1.
It's a gift certificate to Panera Bread for $18.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
there you go.
$5.
But you can get us. But bring your apple desserts. We will be giving out awards for the best tasting dessert and the best presentation. It's an annual event. It's a lot of fun. So bring your apple desserts for that evening and participate with us. Also on Sunday the 24th, which that evening is Erev Yom Kippur. It's Kol Nidre that night.
Kol Nidre.
Earlier on in the day will be Kevara vote. So make sure that you join us at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I think it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
It doesn't
for-
say. It doesn't say.
What, does it say 11? It's either 11 or 1. It's one of those. It has ones in it. This much I know.
It doesn't say.
All right, we'll figure it out. If you'll turn to page 646 in your Siddur, at the bottom of the page, a little bit of advice from the Mishnah, from Pirkei Avot, which is that if you do a mitzvah, it'll bring about another mitzvah. If you do an Aveirah, sin, it'll bring along another sin. These words from the Mishnah were, from the Talmud in this section of Mishnah were put to music and kind of a fun little tune to lead us into that idea, something again to think about as we make our way into the High Holy Days. If you don't know the melody, you'll pick it up pretty quickly because it's kind of a catchy tune. It goes just like this. Mitzvah, goreret, mitzvah. Avera, goreret, avera. Mitzvah, goreret, mitzvah. Goreret, mitzvah. Va-da-da-da-da. So, I'm going to sing one part. You guys are going to try it after me. All right? Here we go. It goes like this. Mitzvah, goreret, mitzvah. Your turn. Ready? goes like this. Avera goreret, avera. We're going to try that. Ready? Avera goreret, avera. Now mitzvah again. Mitzvah goreret, mitzvah. Goreret, mitzvah. Ba-da-da-da-da. That's a very important part, the ba-da-da-da-da. If it doesn't have the ba-da-da-da-da, it really doesn't count. So try with me from the beginning. Mitzvah goreret, mitzvah, avera. Avera goreret, avera. Mitzvah goreret, mitzvah. Goreret, mitzvah. Ba-da-da-da-da. The second half of the song goes like this. Lihiyot tzaddik, that means be righteous. Zentov, Zentov, that means it's a good thing to do. Lihiyot tzaddik, Zentov me'od. Mitzvah goreret, mitzvah, avera goreret. Avera goreret, avera, mitzvah goreret. Mitzvah goreret, mitzvah, goreret, mitzvah. That wasn't too bad, all right. Lihiyot tzaddik, Zentov, Zentov. Lihiyot tzaddik, Zentov me'od. Mitzvah goreret, mitzvah. Avera goreret, avera. Mitzvah goreret, mitzvah. Goreret, mitzvah. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We'll see you in the back for Kiddush and Motzi. And for those of you online, Shabbat Shalom to all of you as well.